Hello everybody, and what is it? Why don't you like me talking to the camera? Come here. Come here. Say hello everybody. Look, over here. Say hello. You were sitting there quite the thing until I started speaking. Huh? And then you were going to make a bugger off, weren't you? Chuffed. Right. What are you doing? You coming or are you going? I take it you're going. Front door's closed. Happy Burns Night everybody. It's been a little while since I've spoke to you, like about a month, because I think the last time I had a Santa hat. And I suppose if this is Burns Night I should really have a wee nip with me. I suppose I could remedy that by stopping the camera and going and getting some whiskey, but you know what, we'll have an alcohol-free video for a change. The wife's away getting haggis for tonight. We do enjoy haggis, but not served in the traditional way. I mean, this whole thing about bringing it out in the stomach and stick it and boiling it. We get a locally produced haggis and we actually slice it up and then fry it, so it makes a nice little crunchy thing. I mean, I couldn't eat it, no. But it is delicious. I mean, a lot of people are kind of put off because of the way it's traditionally served. But it's actually it's just basically spiced lamb and oatmeal. That's actually all that's in haggis. I mean, if somebody was to serve you spiced lamb and oatmeal by any other name, you know, as Shakespeare once said, a rose by any other name would smell as sweet. And it's the same with haggis. It's psychological. But we don't really go into celebrating Burns Night here. Well, obviously other people in Scotland do, but we don't. We just get haggis, tatties and neeps and be done with it. We don't even do the whole fair fa your honest sonsy face, great chieftain o' the puddin' race, aboon them all ye tak your place, pinch triper therm, weel are ye wordy o a grace as lang's my airm. I only know the first verse of the Ode to a Haggis from Robert Burns anyway. But that aside, we're here to talk about other things, aren't we? Plastic things. In particular, the one that's above the title there, or the one that is the title I should say, the Tamiya 1/72 scale A6M2b 0, which was the only present, or the only model I should say, I asked Santa for this year, and obviously I was a good boy because that's exactly what Santa brought. No more or less, which was fine because usually Santa tends to take matters into her own hands and buy all sorts of things that I'm like, oh, yeah, fantastic, wonderful, yeah, I'm looking forward to building that. But yeah, so that was it, just the zero, and it's this one that you're probably all kind of familiar with. And I have to say, I shall put my hand upon my heart and say that this is probably the best kit I've ever had the pleasure of sticking together. I'm not saying that what I made of it is the best, but the kit itself, it is a superbly engineered, thoughtfully designed kit. And I don't know when Japanese manufacturers release a homegrown subject, they do tend to put that little bit extra effort into it, and this is no exception. I have to say it is probably, oh no, I think it's one of the finest. I mean, I built a big 1/32 scale Spitfire, but this is just in the same mould, if you pardon the expression. The tooling is just sublime. It is just an amazing kit. Not one microgram of filler was needed. In fact, the canopy isn't glued on, it just pushes in place. And one of the problems I often find with a lot of kits with the canopy is you'll often get that little gap around the canopy, which isn't obviously the way it should be. The front section of the canopy, the way Tamiya have designed it, it comes down and then instead of fitting onto the model like this, it comes down and then has this little skirt that then fits into a little channel that's cut out in the kit, so when it fits, it comes down and it makes this perfect join between canopy and fuselage. And I've actually shown this one again, like the Airfix one I made earlier last year with the canopy closed, because I know it's good to open up the canopy so you can see all the stuff that's inside, but and this goes for my opinion of convertible motor cars. I actually prefer them with the roof because it's that little. My dog barking. it's the line of the roof that gives the thing its character. You take away the roof of a car, quite often you'll see a convertible and you'll be like, that's nice, what is it? Oh, it's a an Audi, oh, it's a BMW or whatever. I think they just lose their distinctiveness, and it's the same, I think, often goes for some aircraft with their canopies open. And the Zero is also one of the... What are you barking at? Come here. Oi. Come. Come here. Here. Max. Come. Come. Come here. In. Right. Sit. Sit. Good boy. Now lie down. Lie down. Lie down. Come on. Good boy. Lie down. Come on. What was I saying? Something about canopies, wasn't it? Yeah, the Mitsubishi Zero's canopy really defines its look. So I decided to keep it closed. And the canopy in this instance was crystal clear and very thin and beautifully moulded. And so it did allow the inside to be seen. So I decided to go for it closed. But I mean, just the thoughtfulness of the design in this thing, just the effort that's gone into it just makes it stand out from just about everything else that I've built. The cockpit alone, what, 19 individual pieces. The sidewall detail, which was already very good, was added to by, you know, you got separate radio boxes, throttle quadrants now. This beats a lot of 1/48 scale kits hands down in terms of detail in the cockpit. Beautifully rendered, crisp, clean, and as I say, a very busy looking pilot's office when it was finished. Now the thing is, of course, the comparison that's going to be drawn here is with the Airfix kit, which, as I say, I built earlier in the year. And it's kind of unfair. I mean, although they're both 1/72nd scale Mitsubishi A6M2b Zeros, the Airfix kit you can now pick up for, I think, £5.99, which I don't know what that is in dollars, maybe $10 or something, $10, $11. This one, the cheapest you can pick this one up for, the cheapest that we've been able to see it for, was £17.99 or £18. So that's nearly 3 times the price of the kit. Sorry, 3 times the price of the Airfix kit. So to make a comparison isn't really fair. I mean, don't get me wrong, the Airfix kit represents absolutely stunning value for money. You know, for £5.99, you're getting a beautifully tooled... What's he doing out there? You're getting a beautifully tooled kit. Goes together like a dream. There are, obviously, you get what you pay for. It's like comparing a £20,000 or $20,000 motor car to a £60,000 or $60,000 motor car. There's going to be a substantial difference, and that is the case with these kits as well. Quite noticeable difference as well. But as I say, it's not really a fair comparison to put Airfix up against this Tamiya kit. But it does highlight some of the discrepancies, I suppose, if you want to call it, with the Airfix kit. And the main one is, of course, the canopy. Now, I knew when I was building the Airfix Zero that the canopy was, that the framing was a little thick and it had those large radius corners on the frames. Even though there is an Edward mask for the Airfix canopy, there was also, thank you Edward, a mask for this one. And when I was putting them on, the gaps between the masking squares were, you know, they were so thin. I was looking, goodness me, is there any paint going to get in between them? But when they came off, it looked absolutely fantastic. Lovely fine framing. And again, when you compare that to the Airfix, you can see where Airfix is. I mean, you know, they're building the kit for a price and a certain market. So there obviously is going to be limitations. I mean, I would imagine that the tooling that Tamiya created for this thing is obviously hundreds of thousands of yen or dollars or pounds or whatever more than what Airfix can spend on their tooling. So, you know, it's not, as I say, a fair comparison to be made, but it's going to be made because for zeros in 1/72 scale. And other little things like the cowling, the way the cowling tapers on the Tamiya one comes down to, it's more enclosed than the Airfix one, and I would tend to go with Tamiya in terms of accuracy for that. And also the panel lines, something Airfix is not the best at yet. I'm sure they will get their act together on that, but on the Tamiya one, I mean, these are panel lines that wouldn't look out of place on a 1/44th scale. 1/144th scale, I should say. Just sublimely thin, beautiful. So yeah, this I got this at Christmas and I rattled it together quite quickly. This could actually be a contender for what do you call it? Aaron Newland's best build from last year, because I actually built it between Christmas and New Year. So technically the construction part took place in 2013, the painting part took place in 2014. So Aaron was asking what was our best kit of last year. This thing, absolutely, without a doubt, hands down. And actually, the more I think about it, it could probably be a contender for the Mad Modeler's snap together kit, because I mean, the fit was so good. As I say, I never use a drop of filler, but I tend to use the extra thin cement, which you just, you know, you get it on the brush, you take it to the joint, and when you touch it, capillary action just takes it right down into the joint. The fit was so good on this that the cement was actually just sitting in a little pool. It had nowhere to go. It was such a good fit. I actually had to kind of put a little bit of pressure to kind of force it out so that I could get the glue in there. But this could have almost been a snap together kit. Everything had a pin to locate it, so there was no ambiguity about parts. Quite often with, like Edward, I'm building a little Polycarpov here, and quite often the Eastern European manufacturers, they'll show a part, you know, the part of where it's meant to glue, but it'll just be an arrow. It doesn't, you know, and there's nothing there on the kit. There's no locating hole or guide. It's just, you know, you're often looking at it thinking, well, does it go this way? Does it go this way? Or is it over here, over there? Very ambiguous, but in this, nothing. Everything had a place and a place for everything. So you could probably get the idea that I was really quite taken with this kit. But Tamiya being Tamiya, the decals again were, they produce such beautiful styrene. You would think they could get their act together with the decals. Very thick, very glossy, to the point that on a 1/72nd scale, you might actually see the thickness of the decal. So I decided to paint them. Hinomarus are probably the easiest one to do anyway, and these are just plain red Hinomarus. There's no white border to them. So I just masked them up and painted them as well. And the twin yellow strips on the tailplane as well. I had to use the identification number decals and some of the stencil data. Well, fortunately on a zero there isn't much stencil data, so I used the decals with that and kind of got away with it. I did the little red no walk lines on the wings. I painted them myself as well, because the decals were just a nightmare. It's not so much the decal, it's the carrier film that creates this additional layer of detail that can often, when you're weathering, you're using a wash, the wash can actually run along this line and create obviously an effect that you don't particularly want. So I'm trying to get into the habit of painting as many decals as I possibly can, or markings as I should say. And I've gone for this, trying to do as much of the weathering in the painting stage, like I did with the big Thunderbolt, the big Sam Thunderbolt, with its, you know, multi-toned airframe. I did the same with this after I prime it, then just picking out panels, instead of pre-shading the panel lines, pre-shading the actual panels, some dark, some light, to create that multi-coloured panel effect. But yeah, so I highly recommend this kit. If you're ever only going to buy one kit this year, if you like 1/72nd scale aircraft, you cannot go far wrong with this little baby. Beautiful, beautiful kit. 10 out of 10 Tamiya for the effort that's going into this. As I say, the decals let it down, but I think the decals let every single Tamiya kit that ever existed down. I don't know why. Anyway, So there we go. That's another 0 to the collection. I'd like to try and get the fine moulds one, which isn't going to be easy because I think it's out of production. It's available in Japan as part of a magazine build. You know, you buy this magazine in installments, and it comes with various sprues of the fine moulds kit. And I've seen it on eBay, but it's going to be about £50 odd, which is maybe just a little bit much for another 1/72 kit. So I'll maybe try the Hasegawa one next, and see how we got on with that one, see how it compares. And Japanese against Japanese, it might be a more fairer comparison, shall we say. But anyway, that's where we are at the moment, a little one out of the blue there, as it were, and there we go. Yes. So I'll fill you in. This is actually for the. Don't jump to the conclusion when I say it's for the club competition. I'm going to take part in those competitions because they're just for fun. If anything, they're more like a group build. And this February club meet is for Soviet Union, or that's the theme anyway. So I'm doing this little Polikarpov. It's one of the little Edward weekend editions, which I actually tried to build it in a weekend, but that was 2 weeks ago. So it's at the Declan painting stage and weathering, and again I've done the same with the weathering on that one, but I'll fill you in on that one later. So if you do celebrate Burns Night, which you probably don't, because probably very few of you are Scottish, and even though you are probably Scottish, you probably still don't celebrate it, but if you do, happy Burns Night, and I'll speak to you soon. Toodaloo.